Good afternoon and welcome to Who's Right. Today we have with us Brad Courtney, who's chairman of the State Republican Party, and we're so glad to have you here with us, Brad.
Great
nice
to be here.
See you.
Great to be here.
Yes, we've been waiting to talk to you and ask you about how it's going in the state party. You're the president of the party where the Progressive Party was born, actually. And are you always looking out for those liberal lefts, or how does that work for you?
No, I've always been a true conservative, and I think that's why Governor Walker asked me to do it, because I was a good conservative and I've been with him for a long time.
I see. So you don't worry about the left, you just keep your eyes focused ahead.
We just do our job, we legislate well. Good policy makes good politics.
That's great. When did you first take on the position of the chairman, and how do you feel about your responsibilities?
Well, this is actually my second go-around as state chairman. I served briefly in 2006 and 2007 when I took the place of Ambassador Rick Graber, who was appointed by President Bush to be the ambassador to the Czech Republic. I finished out his term in 2006 and 2007. But at May at the state convention, I decided not to run for a full term because I had 3 daughters in high school, and I said to folks, there's several people who can be chairman of the state party, but only one person who can be the dad to these 3 girls. So I stepped away, but then after Reince Priebus was elected chairman of the National Republican Party, Governor Walker asked me to be chairman, and he said, well, I know you have 2 girls that are now in college. One was in, and then I have one who's a senior now. I know, so I have a little bit more time, so he asked me if I'd consider it. I told him I'd pray about it. I got back to him, talked to my wife and one daughter at home, and they said, do it. So.
Oh, great. That's fabulous. Well, you have seen a lot of growth and change in the party. What about right now? What about this past year? How has the party grown?
Well, there's a lot of enthusiasm on the Republican side. I mean, obviously we had great victories here in Wisconsin in 2010 with Governor Walker, Senator Ron Johnson. We gained a couple of congressional seats, which were really unprecedented. I mean, we led the nation in Republican gains, and because of that, we have a lot of people here in Wisconsin who are quite excited.
Yes, and how does this bode for the presidential race coming up in 2012?
I think there's a excellent shot that Wisconsin will go for the Republican candidate next November.
Absolutely. Oh, isn't that exciting?
Very exciting.
That is
very
amazing.
Exciting.
I guess that means we'll be seeing a lot of the presidential nominees here in Wisconsin.
Yes, I am sure of it. We'll have an April primary, and I'm sure we'll just have a lot of people coming to Wisconsin so they can win our delegates.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And you'll be a busy man.
Yes, I will be. Should be pretty busy, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
well, you'll have to bring them all to our show because we would love to interview all of them.
Sure, no, that would be good. That would be good. And then that's a good forum for them.
I know that you have a recall protection project to defend Governor Walker and the Republican senators, and I know that it's very important. And how is that going, and why do we need it so desperately? Can you tell us?
Well, obviously the unions, through their really forced dues, they're able to raise a lot of money easily, quickly, and a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And so Governor Walker has been actually going around the country trying to raise money so we can keep our brave senators, keep them in office by getting them reelected.
Well, can you tell our members why they so desperately need to defend these senators, and what purpose the money is going to that they would donate?
The money donated will obviously it'll either go for ground game, which the Republican Party will try to get as many of our voters out. I think because these elections are in the summer, there's going to be a lot of interest, but it's not going to be like a presidential or a gubernatorial race. So I think it's going to be what side does a better job of getting their base out, and then the independent voters. And so I think we need to be very organized, and you know that those monies contributed to the party will help buy, you know, radio, TV ads. It'll also pay for campaign staffs. It'll pay for mailings, and so we will be good stewards of their money.
Right, and it's important that people realize that this money is going for to save the senators that have had violence and vulgarities and you know, have had their whole lives just upset and turned upside down because of this recall vote. And I don't know that people really understand how difficult this has been for them.
Oh, it's been terrible. I mean, you know, to have my good friend Scott Walker, you know, having death threats upon he and his family. I mean, the level of civility from the other side has just dropped completely, and it's just downright embarrassing.
Right, and so we really need to get every member of the party to
Correct.
get involved.
And I would say for a lot of people that say, well, there's not a recount or a recall candidate in my area, well, then I would say just help out somewhere else, because you know, they're going to be bussing in union members from all over the country to help their candidates to beat our candidates, and so we just need people like, if there's nothing going on in Dane County, they can go up to either Fond du Lac or over to you know, up to La Crosse or over to Germantown to help one of our 3 senators in that area, or Ripon. You know, there's several very close by.
Right, and how much are they asking for people to donate in
obviously
contributions?
we would take any amount. I mean, $5 up to $10,000. I mean, it's all appreciated. And every donor I talked to, I said, we will be a good steward of your money.
We do have a captive audience, though, here at Who's Right, and so hopefully every member will hear and donate money.
Right. Well, go to whizgop.org.
whizgop.org.
Yes,
okay.
That's the state party website.
Okay. And considering the tedious nature of this recall work, how are you going to go about getting volunteers to fight the left and maintain the GOP majority in the state Senate? Because it is going to take a lot of volunteers to do this work.
Well, all we've really had to do is send out emails and saying, we need things done. I mean, Alberta Darling, a wonderful example in Milwaukee's North Shore, she's opened up a campaign headquarters, and they've been making calls for probably 6 weeks now, identifying who her supporters will be when they do call the election, and then they're just identifying voters. She's doing lit drops, so she's, you know, sent out pleas for volunteers, and I think people realize what's interesting about this race or these recalls is a lot of Republicans after November, they went to their victory parties, they celebrated, they might have gone to the governor's inauguration, but then they went back to their own lives, and then they saw what happened, and you know, I think a lot of them were quite upset, and they're just, many people have said, I gotta get involved. I just can't sit on the sidelines, so they want to come and help out. And so we've had a lot of volunteers who have said, I've never worked on campaigns before, I want to beat back these recalls.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you think that the Republican Party has really coalesced, really, because of these recalls?
Oh yes, I think it has galvanized us, and it's made us a stronger party.
That's fantastic. Do you think that's going to carry over into the presidential election?
I do. I think people realize that the liberals or the left of the Democrats, they're not going to take defeat at the polls as the definite answer. They're going to, you know, I mean, what these recalls are actually doing, they're trying to overturning the elections of last November. They lost, the voters rejected them, they threw their party out of power, and now they're just trying to get back into power.
Right. And I've been amazed at how the liberals really believed that Governor Walker was going to be a weak leader, that he was going to, you know, just collapse under their pressure.
If they would have watched Scott Walker for the last 8 years as Milwaukee County executive, he was far from weak. He was firm. he was strong, and you know, he was principled. And
Right.
Milwaukee County was better because of that.
Yeah, and he still is. And if anything, this has made him stronger.
Oh, much stronger. He is a competent man, and he knows what he's doing is right.
Right. And you would know since you've worked with him so
Right,
long.
right.
and
We've been good friends for a long time.
so hard. Yes. So this is the wonderful thing that's the party is going through right now. So leading up to the elections in 2012, what is your primary goal for the Republican Party of Wisconsin? I mean, if you had to say, I'm leading this party and I want to take it here, this is where I want to see it in 2012, what would you say? Where is it you want to take it?
I can't answer that question, but what I will say is I want to go 9-0 on August 9th of this year. That's my immediate focus. We need to win all these recall races. And if we do, that will stop the other side dead in their tracks, and it will show the country that conservatives are out there and the issues Governor Walker is governing on are the right things and the voters approve of it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a goal. That's a strong goal to have. So what do you think about the race that we have just gone through with the Supreme Court, where we had to go through this recount and everything? What do you think has come of that?
Well, obviously it was a little closer than we all had hoped for, especially when you had two candidates, Judge Prosser and his opponent. I mean, Judge Prosser was far more qualified than his opponent, and even his opponent, who tried for positions with the Obama administration or Governor Doyle, was rejected, so she really wasn't a qualified candidate. And so it was, you know, it was surprisingly close, but we also learned with what the other side will do. I mean, if they're within 10,000 votes, or actually 7,000 votes,
Right.
they're just going to keep counting the votes until they win. And we've counted them twice now, and we've won both times, and it appears like they're going to just keep dragging this thing on for who knows how long.
And there's no way to stop them. There's no way to bring it to an end.
I just hope maybe a judge will just say, nope, the election's over, David Prosser won, and he can be seated again on August 1st.
And we just have to simply sit here and wait until a judge makes that call.
Right. There's not much we as there's not much we as activists can do anymore.
Isn't that something?
It's very sad. It's very sad.
That's unbelievable. In order to bring in new voters to the Republican Party, where are you looking to bring in new voters? Where do you go to enlarge the party?
Well, I think a lot of people, where we're going to get our new voters is a lot of people either who have never voted but are taxpayers, people who have jobs, they're taxpayers, and they're going to see the Republican Party with Governor Walker leading it as really the friend of the taxpayer. And they're, and these people are going to say, I've sat on the sidelines too long. I may not go out and work hard for a candidate, but I'm at least going to go to the polls and vote for him. So I think there's a lot of untapped people that are just observing things and are going to say, you know what, the Republican Party, I agree with a lot of their ideas.
I see. So will those people come from independents, or will they come
I think independents, but I also think younger people. I mean, when they get out of college and if there's no jobs out there, they're going to say, well, boy, we can't just keep doing the same things over and over and expect different results. So I think young people might look at the Republican Party in a different way, and then when you're a taxpayer and you're paying more and more your taxes to the government, I think people are going to say, really, we need to we need to see what Governor Walker is doing and embrace that. Mm-hmm. He's not going to raise our taxes. He's cutting spending. I mean, he was given by Governor Doyle as his going away president a $3.5 billion deficit, $3.6 billion to be exact, and Governor Walker, he closed that gap.
He's cut it to what now?
It's going to be almost nothing now. I mean, he's going to erase that that debt, and it wasn't through any. It wasn't raiding of other funds, stealing money from the transportation fund. He didn't borrow money. He wasn't using tobacco money. He wasn't using stimulus money. It's an honest budget.
That's amazing. That really is. Well, I know that you have great support from your county chairs that you have, and I know our own Mike Hurl, for instance, started this show, Who's Right, as support to the party. How do you work with your county chairs, and how do they support you?
Obviously, the county party organization is just the most important part of the function. I mean, they're really the boots on the ground. They provide the volunteers that make the phone calls, that do the lit drops, that you know, put up the yard signs, and they're very, very important. And I was a unit chairman in Milwaukee County back in the early 90s, and so I realized the importance of working with these fine folks. And you know, you can't win a statewide race just spending a lot of money on TV. You need to have, obviously, you need to have a good ground game, and that's really provided by, you know, the local county parties.
Yeah, and they do work hard.
They do work very hard.
The volunteers are the key. How do you get those volunteers?
Well, many times we'll just go into a county. Well, I mean, like for a particular campaign, I worked with Scott on his campaign. We would just try to find key volunteers, because when we had a primary with where the party had to stay neutral, we would try to find our own coordinators in each county, because many times the party would stay neutral until after the primary.
Oh, I see.
And so we tried to put together a team, and
sure.
You know, and what was nice about a primary was then we were able to figure out which counties we had weak spots after the primary.
Oh, I see. So then you can figure out your plan
sure.
of action for once you get into the campaign.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So you've worked with Scott in many campaigns.
Correct, yes. I've known Scott since 1990.
No wonder you have such a great relationship with him.
No, in fact, just a quick story. There was a Republican primary in the Milwaukee's North Shore back in 1990. There were 3 people running. One was Ambassador Rick Graber, and then the other person, or my candidate, and then the third person was Alberta Darling. Well, I was the campaign manager for a person. He didn't win. He came in second. But I had a college student named Scott Walker come and help us out.
Oh my
and that's
goodness.
how we became friends.
Oh my goodness, a college student.
Right. And then we became friends, and I was in his wedding, and we vacationed together as families. Our kids know each other, and our wives get along real well, and so we've just been good friends for a long time. And when Scott called me to be chairman again, I probably wouldn't have done it for anybody else but him.
Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
That's fabulous. What a team.
Yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
a good guy to be a team for.
Yeah.
With.
Well, it's a fabulous meeting to have you
thank you.
here,
Thank
and
you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate it. Please
I
come
enjoyed
and
this.
see us again. And thank you for watching. Don't forget, this is Who's Right, and you get to decide your opinion. And just go to our website, whosright.org, and tell us what you think of the interview. Thank you for watching.